A lot of you are wondering how to cook. So we're gonna make lentils. Lentils, yes. So yeah, this is an Indian recipe, but you know, I'm not really going by the recipe because I'm using whatever spices I have, right? So I got some onions and peppers. I have this green like longhorn pepper that I got at the Chinese grocery store. But you could use dried red chilies, you could use anything really. Because I just want that spice, right? And then I want the oniony flavor and the sweetness of the onions, right? And into that I put some mustard seeds, which you use in a lot of Indian dishes, and some caraway, which if you've ever had rye bread, the flavor of the rye bread, if you notice any flavor, that very distinctive sort of, I mean, it's not a grain flavor, but you associate it with grain, right? That's caraway. So, is that traditional? Is it authentic? I don't know. I don't think so, but that's what I have, and I encourage you to be experimental in the way you cook. And then also, I just cracked some black pepper in here. And as you can see, the onions are starting to caramelize. We also got some cardamom, and let me see if I can find the cloves. Yeah, 2 cloves. You don't want to overdo the cloves. A very warm, spicy sort of flavor. Don't want to overdo that. Neither the cardamom, don't overdo that either. Maybe like just 2 or 3 pods. Okay. So the onions are going, right? We're gonna also use this. This is curry leaves. Do you have to use it? No. You don't have to use any of this really. And you can get these fresh sometimes actually at an Indian store. But the ones I have, they were already dried out. And that's gonna give it this herbal, earthy flavor that sort of rounds it out. So let's give that a stir. Mix those flavors in. So let's see what other spices we've got, because lentils, you know, they're a canvas. They don't really taste like much, but you can put different spices in it, much like you can do with tofu, which is another blank canvas sort of food. So we have here, these are the spices I'm using. We're going to use 5-spice powder, which has a very warm sort of flavor. It's a blend of multiple spices like ginger, cloves. Got some garlic powder. Now you could use just like chopped garlic, but I really dislike chopping garlic because it's sticky, it gets on my hands. And even if you wash your hands, the flavor, well, the scent of it will stick on your fingers. Garlic powder, yeah, some people might say, oh, that's inferior compared to actual garlic, fresh garlic, right? But if you want that garlic flavor, then that's better than nothing, right? We're gonna do the 5-spice powder. What order should you put in your spices? Well, the finer spices, like these powders, I'm just gonna put them in like after the whole spices. So the mustard seeds, they go in at the beginning. The caraway seeds, cardamom, cloves. You can do like coriander seeds. You can do like pepper kernels. If you wanted to, you could put like nuts in here, peanuts. You could chop almonds. There's just so many possibilities, right? We're also gonna eventually use this curry powder. This is something that my former roommate left here, so it would be a waste if I didn't use it, right? So yeah, I'm not gonna leave the recipe, at least in a very exact way in the description. I'll maybe put some general guidelines, but when you're cooking, it's not good to think of recipes as so like set in stone. So I'm gonna do some chili powder, and I guess pretty much after this I'm gonna put in the lentils, which have been soaking. Any lentils, because I don't want the chili powder to stick to the bottom of the pan too much. And could you do tomatoes? Yeah, you could do tomatoes. So typically you could do like onions, the spices. You can put ginger and garlic. You can put tomato, and then you can put turmeric, but I'm gonna leave the turmeric out for now. So that's the lentils. We're just gonna decant that. Yeah, I don't want the onions to get too burnt, right? So I'll get most of the lentils in there. Right. Sometimes I like dancing or listening to music while I cook. And you know, these days with the internet, you can, I mean, even the phone, you can call people, talk to people while you cook. I think cooking in general is such a, it could be such a social activity. And my friend Beth is here helping film this. She's working on the camera. So, what do I see in here? I want the lentils to be well cooked and not hard. And you know, you don't have to soak lentils, but I did to make it like go a little faster. But this amount of water here, to me it seems like it's gonna boil off rather fast. So I'm gonna add more water. Could you add stock? Vegetable stock? Chicken stock? I mean, well, the idea is this is a vegetarian dish. So I personally wouldn't do chicken stock. But yeah, you could, I mean, put leftover soup in here. You can like stir fry vegetables and put the juice of the vegetables in here, which I might actually do that right now. So let's do that. So I had a guest over this morning, and look at that juice. This is just me stir frying this vegetable called 油菜, which is like edible rape. So if a little bit of the vegetable gets in, that's fine, but this is basically just soy sauce and the juice from the leaves of this plant. So that's gonna flavor it subtly. So what have I put in here for salt? Well, there's a little bit of salt in here, but I'm thinking, would it be worth it to put Old Bay? I mean, I think if I want to keep it more like true to the Indian origins, then maybe I should forego that and use the curry powder if it has salt in it. Which it does. So we're gonna put this and later taste for salt. Sometimes when I do this, like cook lentils, I like to put what is it, soy sauce. But soy has a very distinctive flavor, and it, I think, makes it distinctively like Chinese, possibly. So if you're using soy sauce as a source of salt, just realize that the umami, like beanie flavor, the soy flavor, is also going to be in the dish. So you got to be okay with that as well. And for this dish, I want there to be a, well, I can tolerate a little bit of that soy flavor, but maybe I don't want too much of that. Alright, so I think I'm gonna turn the heat down a little and we can add more spices. I mean, I could taste for flavor now, but I'm just being creative here. I want this to have a little bit more chili. Now, of course, if you're cooking for somebody who cannot tolerate any spice, then obviously you don't want to put too much spice in it, or even any spice at all. Okay, so this has been sitting for a bit. The lentils, yeah, because I don't have a lid on this pot, it cooks more slowly. It cooked more slowly than I expected, so it still has a little bit more to go, but it's mostly soft. And to speed up the softening process, I did, when I added water, also add baking soda, like a little bit of baking soda in the water. So that worked its magic and made it softer, but then there was a residual like bitterness, like this baking soda sort of flavor. And you can cancel that out with acid, so we ended up squeezing most of a lime in there. The thing about lime is I want it mostly at the end, okay? Because some of the flavors of the lime, like the terps, you know, they're gonna, I guess, like evaporate or be dissipated or denature or something. So you want to put the lime at the end to preserve that like fresh flavor. So the lime that's put in here, that's mainly just for some acidity and to cancel out the baking soda. I also put soy sauce in here, not too much, but, and the soy sauce will also give it this umami flavor, this depth to it, which, because I left out tomatoes in this, it actually needed some of that depth. So the soy sauce, in that sense, was a good choice. And then as for sweetness, which also adds a similar depth compared to umami, yeah, I added some sweetness. And you can do that with sugar, or honey, maple syrup, agave nectar, just, you know, any sugar of your choice. It doesn't really matter, because you're not trying to really taste the sugar. You just want to add enough sugar to, like, not have it taste so flat. And that's something I do in pretty much all of my dishes, or a lot of my dishes. So yeah, basically, like when the water evaporates off, if you still want it to go a little bit, just add more water. So at this point, I think I'm ready to finish up and garnish. So we got some of the onion, and you can do this with scallions too, where you chop up the white part and leave the green for garnish. Or onions, you dice some and put it in for flavor, for a little bit of that sweetness, for that allium, like that garlic note. Not garlic, onion, but garlic is similar. That allium flavor. But save it for garnish, because this is for texture. And also the flavor of it is more condensed within each individual piece of the onion. So it'll add, you know, a textural depth to it that makes the dish more interesting. And then we'll squeeze more lime as I turn off the flame. And then when I serve, we can squeeze even more lime right on top of it. And so you see now the consistency has gotten very thick. But this is still, I guess, yeah, it's soft enough, but still slightly on the hard side. But it's ready to serve. So yeah, I hope you learn some concepts, and hope this inspires you to be maybe a little bit more experimental and not so rigid in your cooking.
Do you want to show the rice?
Sure. So yeah, I don't actually have rice because I ran out of it. So I cooked millet. This northeastern Chinese millet, this yellow millet. And this kind of gets bitter. So I soaked it a little bit before I cooked to get rid of that bitterness. So yeah, it's not so bitter now. Yeah, I would usually serve it with rice, but you gotta cook with what you have. So that's it, folks.